Look at these bees, absolutely jam-packed in the hive. And that's what happens in springtime. If you look in the window and you cannot see the comb, that means your bees are really breeding up. What happens is the queen or the hive is stimulated by the nectar flow. So when there's a lot of nectar flow coming in, the queen starts laying more eggs. And then you get a population boom like this. And what that means is if you don't do anything about it and it's springtime, your hive is likely to swarm. So what you want to do is get in there and do your spring management. Last week we did some live cutting out of comb in the hive to make room for the queen to lay down in the brood box here. We've got a bit of a rainy day, so our plans have changed here. We're going to do a brood inspection on this hive, just to get in there, have a look and see how they're going. If you're in the colder parts of the southern hemisphere, then your early brood inspections as spring hits will be to see if there's a laying queen in the bottom. So we're going to do that now, get in there and check the hive is happy and healthy down here in the brood box. And then we will just go through and have a look at what's going on each comb in the hive. So stay with us. If you've got questions, put it in the comments below. Trace will read those questions out and we'll get to answering those. So we're adding a little bit of smoke to the hive. We're getting ourselves ready. If you're new to beekeeping, make sure you have a good bee suit. My favourite is the mesh bee jacket, just because it's easy, but it does mean you need to wear some pants. And then you put your hood on, make sure it's well zipped up. Got a middle zip, then you've got two side zips, which come across and actually overlap. So that's an important thing to do. These bee suits come with our bundles if you want to get a jump on the season, which is a really good idea, because what happens in spring is you need to relieve the congestion in your hive, and there's a few ways to do that. My favourite way is to take a hive split, but that means you need to be prepared and get another brood box. Well, you may as well just get another complete kit so you can set up the base and the brood box and the roof, and then you take your split, and when they've built up nice and strong, you then put the honey somebody else swarming, because there's potential to spread varroa mites, which we're still brood box. Or adding another super is another way. Cutting out comb in the bottom or removing some of the frames, putting fresh ones back in, allowing new areas for the queen to lay is another great thing to be doing as well. If you missed last week, go and have a look at that. We were cutting out comb and showing you how to do that. Next week we'll be doing a hive split as well, so tune in. If you're new to beekeeping, wear your gloves. I'm just going to add a bit of smoke to my hands to mask the smell of this mammal coming into the hive. I don't want the bees to think I'm a bear. Now, rainy day here, so a lot of the bees are in the hive. They're not out foraging, so it's not the best time to be doing brood inspections, but the things you do for the camera. Best to do it on a nice sunny day when a lot of the bees are out foraging, and there's less to be bothering you when you're doing your brood inspection. So let's just take the gabled roof off the hive like that, and what we're going to do is just crack this top box off, and we're going to just upend it onto the railing here, making sure we don't let it fall off the edge, of course, and that way we can get into our brood box. So to do that, we're just going to be putting our hive tool in here like this and just loosening this box up. Now, it's actually pretty light. One thing that people often miss is this is a really good handle here to actually lift your box. And there's a handle on the other end. It's best to lift it in this direction because it's lighter than having it in the long ways direction and a bit easier to handle, but you can use the side windows as handles too, like this, if you want to, but it's the that rear window which is a really great handle. Now that that's loose, I'm actually going to leave the inner cover on. There's no reason to take it off, and just pop it onto the railing like this. So there we have our flow frames, which are still pretty light because the honey is only just starting to come in here, but it's been enough to really stimulate this hive to start laying. So I'm looking forward to getting in there and seeing what's going on in the brood box. If you've got questions, put it in the comments and we'll start answering those. I'm just adding a little bit of smoke. It is a grey, rainy day. They're likely to be a little more grumpy, so I'm going to use a little more smoke. Any questions coming in?
Yeah, I see a lot of people asking, when should people start to look at their brood box and open it up for spring?
Okay, if you're in the southern hemisphere and you're down south, then you'll probably wait till there's sunny days and some blossoms and the bees are starting to fly. Then you can open up your hive and see how they went through winter. Make sure you've got a queen in there, and that's a great thing to be doing. Now here in the subtropical region, we're on the east coast of Australia, we don't really get a winter. So here we are, not far past midwinter, and the bees think it's spring because they're starting to bring in flowers.